So, Wonder Woman 1984, or Wonder Woman 84, or whatever the f they want to call it. It's a bad movie. It's definitely a bad movie. It's not anywhere near the quality of, you know, any of the good DC movies, like the first Wonder Woman, or even Aquaman, or anything like that, but it's substantially better than one of the, like, worst offenders, like Suicide Squad or Justice League. But I do think Batman vs. Superman is slightly better because it takes bigger swings. Yes, it takes bigger misses, but...
Ah, ahoy, ahoy, I did not know you were here.
Wonder Woman 1984 takes tiny swings, but makes huge misses.
What do you wish for?
Me? Truly?
I like to be fair, and this is mostly going to be a super negative review, so I would like to just kind of talk about all the good. So let's start off now by talking about the good. I thought that there were some good action scenes that, while the CGI looked like really terrible sometimes, some of them were creative in the way that she used her lasso, especially the one in the White House, and to a lesser extent the one on the road. I really can't stress enough how much I love Pedro Pascal in this movie. He's really just fully sending it. He's just giving it his all. He takes this horribly written and horribly presented character and somehow manages to entertain despite all that. I don't know anything about Maxwell Lord. I don't know anything about him from the comics, if he even is a comic book character. But in this movie, he's just pathetic. His boss calls him a loser in front of his kid. Which is just,
Well, the FTC gets an anonymous report. Loser.
which is just so stupid. He's just this pathetic loser who is so desperate to be great. He wants everyone to love him, and then he realizes in the end that the only one who really cares about is his son. I don't know, who cares? I'm just really glad he's in the movie because it gives me something to cling on to. Gal Gadot is fine. There's some really strong moments with her towards the end, but for the most part, she's not really doing all that great. She just looks kind of bored or disinterested. I know that Wonder Woman is supposed to be a little, like, world-weary, but she doesn't really seem world-weary in this movie. She just looks like she doesn't want to be there. Let's get to what everybody really wants to hear. Let's talk about let's talk about definitely the worst thing in this movie. And that, my friends, is Cheetah. God, what a loss that was. Alright, so I've seen some of the animated movies. She's good in the cartoons. She's a force to be reckoned with. She has great fight moves, but I've never seen her as more than just like a henchman in anything. She's supposedly one of Wonder Woman's like arch enemies, but she really just doesn't come off menacing at all. And add that to the fact that Kristen Wiig is playing her. It's just not something that really suits Kristen Wiig, I think. And she's obviously more comedy oriented. Obviously Kristen Wiig can act, you know, we've seen her in movies like Skeleton Twins. She's really great in that. When I heard that they were casting Kristen Wiig as Cheetah, I was interested. I was like, oh, so they're gonna try and make her like a little funny. Okay, in the movie, she's not funny at all. You're never really supposed to laugh with her. The whole movie she's presented as this dainty character who can't defend herself until she gets the wishes that she wants, right? I think that the biggest sin that this movie commits, and it's definitely something that only bothers me, I don't know if anyone else noticed it, but easily the part that threw me off the most was right towards the beginning. Right after Barbara and Diana meet, they go out to dinner, right? And they say, oh, let's go to dinner. And then the camera cuts to them talking at the dinner table. And Diana is just like,
wow, you're so funny.
Thank you.
Wow.
I mean, no one's made me laugh like this in such a long time.
And we don't hear any of it. We haven't heard or seen Kristen Wiig do anything in the movie remotely funny or interesting at all. And they're just throwing this exposition at us, expecting us to just believe that she's funny, even though Kristen Wiig is funny. And I'm sure she said funny things that day. They just threw it all away and they were like, no, let's just have Diana tell her she's funny. So conceptually, Cheetah doesn't work, right? As a character written for a film, she just doesn't work, right? So what does her design look like? Does she look cool? No, she doesn't, right? Up until before she becomes the cheetah, she's just wearing her regular clothes. She kind of gets a funkier outfit the more and more the movie goes on, but she really doesn't change at all until she becomes cheetah, and she just looks horrible. The CGI is worse somehow than in Cats, because at least in Cats it looked like they genuinely tried to like make these people look like kittens and cats. Cheetah doesn't look like a feline. She looks like a person with gray color effects on them and these weird lines that supposedly are supposed to resemble cheetah prints. She looked horrible, and then couple that with the fact that the fight scene itself is just ridiculous, that she looks like she's on a wire the whole time. Everyone in this movie, the whole movie, just looks like they're on a wire. I don't understand why. It feels like a movie from 2003. It feels like Daredevil or Catwoman or Elektra or one of those movies where clearly they were jumping around on wires. That leads me to the second worst thing about this movie, actually. Speaking of this just super bloated and ridiculous third act, it's the writing. The writing of the film is awful. It doesn't work. There's so many storylines going on at the same time, and they're just kind of melded together to make this semi-cohesive story, right? You have Diana, who wants Chris Pine back, so she has her thing with him, but it's not really him, right? And then there's Barbara, who wants to be like Diana, so now you add that she has her powers and is taking them from Diana, another plot point. Then we got Pedro Pascal, who is going crazy and wants to become The Rock, not Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, but like...
I see you've been working out.
Look at this, look at this. Can I just pull it up? Look at this.
Yeah, I see. Oh, look at that.
Now you said don't skip leg day.
The Rock in the movie, you know what I mean. So it's all these storylines that kind of culminate together in these somewhat attached scenes, and the movie just feels bloated. Chris Pine is bumbling around like an idiot. He's just kind of making...
That's just a trash can.
It's just a trash can.
Yeah.
He's just kind of making stupid faces the whole time because, oh, last time Wonder Woman was the fish out of water. Now Chris Pine is the fish out of water. Like, we get it, you know? You don't have to, like, spend 15 minutes of them pretending like they don't know any of this shit. Like, it doesn't really matter anymore because we've seen it. We've seen it all already. And then the writing is just ridiculous, right? The writing is the worst in the third act. The third act is really where the movie itself has had so much weird shit going on already, but the third act, the movie collapses in on itself, right? It starts breaking its own rules. It starts like being really anticlimactic. It starts building up to stuff and then nothing really happens, right? The biggest complaint about DC movies is that there's usually this third act villain, super boss, that the heroes have to destroy. You know, you got Zod or the Enchantress or Doomsday. It's just this mega super boss that they have to defeat and everyone will always win. In this movie, I don't know if they were trying to subvert this, but they included Cheetah anyways. It's not Cheetah though. It is Maxwell Lord. Here's the thing about Maxwell Lord. He's just a dude. He's literally just a random dude with the powers of a magic rock. As a matter of fact, not only is he a dude with the powers of a magic rock, he's like deteriorating. Up until the point where Wonder Woman shows up after fighting Cheetah and looks at him, he is dying on the inside, both literally and emotionally. He is so worn down. How the f is Wonder Woman gonna have a big fight with this guy? Why should we be excited for the final showdown if Wonder Woman can literally punch through this guy like he's tissue paper? So you're just sitting there like waiting for this fight, right? That's where Cheetah comes in. Cheetah is supposed to be our big third act battle, but we've already established that that didn't work either. So what do we get? Well, we get the stupidest shit in this entire movie. The third act starts, it may not start exactly here, but it basically starts with Cheetah and Maxwell Lord talking to each other after they realize that they need each other. I was under the impression that you could only make one wish from the stone. Barbara somehow gets another one. She wished to be just like Diana, hence why she's all powerful. But now that Maxwell Lord is the stone, he's like,
What do you want?
and she just responds by saying,
I don't want to be like anyone anymore. I want to be number one, an apex predator.
Okay.
nobody gives a shit. And you just hear that and you're like, aren't you already powerful? Aren't you already like taking Diana's power? Why do you want to become an apex predator? Since when have you ever wanted that? Whatever. So Wonder Woman puts on the armor, you know, the armor that's in all the posters and is in all the trailers. The armor looks great, I'm not gonna lie, but it kind of goes nowhere. The journey from wherever she is to the White House is one of the most anticlimactic things I've ever seen. You know, in The Lion King, when Simba is returning back to Pride Rock and the music is thumping and you got the African chants claiming. So much buildup. Not here. Here they use that clip from the money shot of the trailer, which is her swinging on the lightning. I remember being excited as fuck to see that. In the trailer, it was more exciting than it was in the movie. In the movie, there was like no background music, and she's just swinging. It looks hilarious. It doesn't even look... Like, no, she's just going somewhere. So she gets there, fights Cheetah, and it's stupid. She electrocutes Cheetah. Fine. Okay, sure, why not? And then she shows up, and by that point, Maxwell Lord is, like, telling everyone to wish for everything. But Wonder Woman sees that if she just, like, kills the guy, then there's gonna be no movie. So she's just talking to him, and that's their final battle. It's just her talking to him and being like, remember your son! And then he sees his son in the middle of like Armageddon. His son is just wandering around in the fields crying because his dad is a psychopath and the world is ending around him. Maxwell Lord, he's like, I renounce all my wishes, and then he runs to his son. And then, you know, everyone gets their wishes back, but the world is still destroyed. While all the wishes come back, the effect of them is still there. So like, let's say I wish for a tornado. The tornado would dissipate, but the destruction that it left in its wake would still be there. How come nobody later on remembers this? No one ever mentions to like Wonder Woman, like, hey, you remember that weird shit that happened where all those wishes started coming true and there was like calamities falling out of the sky and no one knew what the fuck was going on? Nobody mentions this shit. The movie doesn't even feel like it fits within the continuity of the actual series it's in. I'd say one of the worst things that just needs to be mentioned is CGI is awful. While the concept of her using her lasso to catch bullets is cool, and is 3 seconds in the movie, the rest of the movie just looks like shit. The movie has this weird lack of quality. Wonder Woman has to save kids, so there's 4 separate action moments in the 3 action scenes in the whole movie where Wonder Woman has to save these kids, and you just kind of feel like, oh, going through the motions again, you know? Overall, though, the movie doesn't work. It's boring, it's cringy, it looks bad, and that's a shame, because the first movie is really good. It's not a masterpiece, but it is a very, very fun, very original superhero movie. Here, it's just all bad. No one is at the top of their game here except Pedro Pascal, who looks like he's just like, finally, I can take this fucking helmet off and actually give someone a performance. And it's just a shame that he has to do this shit.
I'm a forgiving man!
All in all, this movie, I'm mad that we got another bad DC movie. I was really hoping they would just keep up the good streak. I'm gonna give this stupid ass movie a 3 out of 10. F this movie, I never want to talk about it again.